Yeah.
Yeah, so good morning and good evening to everyone. This is SAP Ariba demo session, which will be conducted by consultant Manoj Kumar. So over to you, Manoj. We can good to go ahead for the presentation now. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Shigetam. So I think just give me a moment over here. I think we are good to basically start with our session for today, guys. Our demo session. Excuse me. Now, uh, before we start our demo session, few of the things which uh, we want to basically understand and realize the impact of it. Because the thing is like specifically, am I audible to all of you guys? If you're not able to hear me, guys, it won't happen for everybody. Why? Because I think right now Nikita was able to hear me. I think majority of you can hear me, but sometimes what happens is like your internet connectivity might drop. So restart your system, relog in once again to the GoTo Training app. You'll be able to hear me. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, guys. Now, few things which we need to understand over here is whenever you start working in Ariba, what happens is majority of the consultant, what the thing is like Ariba is just like any SAP product. The technology, the architecture is like any SAP product. Only thing is it is in on cloud. Actually, they are wrong. Ariba, excuse me, Ariba is not SAP product. That means what? That means it's not developed in-house by SAP. Okay, that you have to understand a bit first. So SAP, not SAP, Ariba on cloud was released in 2010. Very good, not an issue. But SAP bought out Ariba in September 2012, almost 2 years later. So the technology, the processes, and everything of Ariba are different from that of SAP. So please don't think that when you move from to that of Ariba, or when you move from what SRM to Ariba, don't expect the same thing. Okay, very good. So keep this thing in your mind. Excuse me. Now, chalo, we have basically understood this thing. So now, what's the so Manoj, this is the issue. What's the solution? The solution is we have to understand Ariba just like that of a new technology. Yes, of course, it is based out of procurement. So try to keep understanding the procurement processes. Not an issue. But think of it as a new technology. Okay. Now, there are a lot of trainers who basically trains on Ariba. In fact, they will train you on each and every topic of Ariba. Exactly. So, Manoj, why are we going to do this training for you? Then, so the thing is like you will understand four things with our sessions. that there are two sides of Ariba. The first one is standard process of Ariba. Standard process of Ariba means what? Those processes are directly present in Ariba. Next. Those processes present in Ariba. You're going to use that process. Very good. But let me ask all of you guys, when you will implement Ariba for your client, that standard process will get implemented. No, no, exactly correct. Acha, so which process will get implemented, Manoj? The client's business process. That is why you will notice that in any SAP project, once we start our project, we will start with fit gap analysis. Once those gap is analyzed, we will basically give a solution for that. And that is where we will do the configuration and customization. The majority of the trainer will basically talk about the standard Ariba process. Oh, you are having very good knowledge. Once you go to the project, you are noticing that, are boss, your knowledge, what you are having, and the client what is they are asking is totally different. So that is where the issue happens. Okay. So that is what we do in our session. In our session, we basically find out those things which are required for implementation. Okay. So let us begin our demo session. Now, what is Ariba? It's a procurement solution. Simple. Based on cloud services. No need to basically for me to explain what is cloud services, because majority of you guys know what is cloud services right now. Yeah, in 2017, 18, we have to basically talk about what is this cloud services and all those things. Not now. Excuse me. Yeah. Now, every one of you, majority of you guys know that Ariba will have two solutions: upstream solution and downstream solution. And this is where what I have seen is that whenever I talk with any Ariba consultant or any Ariba trainer, what is upstream solution, what is downstream solution? I will basically ask. The answer which I will always get is excuse me, upstreams are used for strategic procurement, downstream is used for operational procurement. But boss, what do you mean by strategic procurement? What do you mean by operational procurement? When you will do operational procurement, when you will do strategic procurement, what are the reasons? Huh? That's the issue. So before going into this thing, you will see whenever your client is going to do the procurement, there are multiple things which will come over here. The first one is new products, old products. So what is the meaning of this new products and old products, or how does it affect your client's business process? All of you will basically say to me that, and I will say yes, that's a important thing for us to understand. So first and foremost thing, whenever, suppose, forget about organization, uh, basically, uh, think about it. You want to buy something, okay? Forget about organization. You are basically trying to buy something. Suppose you have never bought a smartphone before, and you already have a laptop. You want to basically buy a new laptop. The basis of your buying, will it be same? Excuse me. No, it will never be same. So you know about the laptop. You have already bought it before. Now what you will do? You will go to the showroom and then you will say, boss, show me the laptop. You don't have to tell me anything. Tell me the price. Just tell me the price. I will pay for that and I will buy it. Very good. That's an example of an old product. Suppose you have never bought a smartphone before. Then what you will do? So you have to do some research on your smartphone, right? Exactly. So once you do the research on smartphone, what will happen? Once you do the research on smartphone, everything will become simple. And what is that simple thing? Excuse me. That is, okay, this phone is costly. This phone is less costly. Its performance is less. The costly phone performance is good. Plus, I will basically get a operating system upgrade till next 4 years. The low cost phone, I will only get it for 2 years. All this particular thing you will basically understand, right? Why? Because you don't know about the product. And in that scenario, what will happen? You might go to multiple showrooms. Not might, you will go to multiple showrooms. Excuse me. To inquire about the product. Once you have basically inquired about the product, then only you will buy. So this is an example of new product. So whenever you will buy a new product, you will notice source of supply is not present. That means what? That means he will buy something from for your new product, but he will don't know the supplier. Who is that? Okay, exactly. So that means you don't know from which supplier you will buy, at what price you will buy. It will never work. But old product, source of supply, source of supply is already present. Already present means what? So that means in case of new product, you don't know from which supplier you will basically buy, at what price you will buy. Old products basically means what? Old products basically means over here, simple thing. That is what? I've been using that particular product. So I know from which supplier I will buy, at what price I will buy. Exactly. So that means what? Now need to find the best source of supply before buying. Already know the source of supply. So this is the difference. And new product and old product, this is like a simple thing which will happen for every client. Every client will have this division, and based on this division, everything will work. Plain and simple. This is not like, it will happen only for such a certain client. This will basically happen for every client. So 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 what is this the meaning of new product and old product? So this is a simple thing which will happen everywhere. Now, what will happen? Upstream basically means finding the best source of supply for the products. Which products? Okay. So what is the meaning of this particular thing, that finding the best source of supply for the new products over there? Finding the best source of supply for the new products. Excuse me. Yeah. So we have to understand one thing, that finding the best source of supply for the new product, that is basically upstream. Why? Because before buying or whatever may be the thing, you have to understand the first thing. Now, once you have find the best source of supply for your new products, then you can buy it. Very simple. But what about downstream? Downstream is basically not working with new products. It's basically working with the old products. So that means what? Buying old products, uh, then basically taking deliveries, and finally pay for it. So that means if you look at the definition of upstream solution and downstream solution, just the definition, that what is the meaning of upstream, what is the meaning of downstream over there. How does the different incomes over here? Understand that in this scenario, what we are doing, we are just trying to divide the Ariba solution based on which type of product is it. Simple. Majority of the Ariba consultant and you see uh, the consultants who are working in the will basically talk about all these things like uh, upstream means basically we will basically work with Ariba for strategic solutions. Downstream means we will basically work with operational or day-to-day solution. What does it mean? The meaning is this. Upstream means what? We are working with the new products. We just directly cannot buy those new products. Why? Because we don't know at what price we will buy and from whom we will buy. So in upstream, what we are doing? Finding the right source of supply for the new product. Downstream, what we are doing? Here, we are dealing with old products. In old products, what happens? For old products, the simple thing which we need to understand over here is what? That we are dealing with old products. Old products means we will know from which supplier we will buy, at what price we will buy. So we will directly order them, take the deliveries of the product, and finally pay for it. So now you're understanding the difference, what is upstream and what is downstream. See, this is the thing which I was basically saying at the beginning of our session. Anybody can come and say to you, upstream means this, downstream means this. But understanding what is the scope of upstream, what is the scope of downstream, this is what will help you in your project. So that's the difference which I was talking about. Now, let's go into upstream. In upstream, the first and foremost thing which you will be tackling is sourcing. What happens in the sourcing? Sourcing is basically finding the best source of supply. So here we will basically have different things like RFI, then RFP. RFI means request for information. RFP means request for proposal. Now here, whenever we are working with the best source of supply, what I always hear from majority of the suppliers or majority of the Ariba consultants are one thing. And what is that? Now, what happens is whenever I will basically talk about sourcing project, all the Ariba consultant will say RFI first, then RFP next. RFI, what we do? We will basically capture the technical information about the product. RFP means we will capture the price information. Now, why I am basically saying this thing? Because as I was saying that RFI and RFP, it's not mandatory. So you will see in our first session, today is a demo session. In our first session, when we will go and we will talk about sourcing, there is something which is called a full project, something which is called a quick project. Majority of the Ariba consultant, when I will ask them that what's the difference between a full project and a quick project, they will start looking here and there. Full project means what? First, then RFP. Quick project means what? Either RFI or RFP. So Manoj, are you saying in certain scenarios we will not try to understand the technical parameters of the product and we will directly go to the price one? Yes, that is what I'm saying. But for that, you need to understand the business scenario. In which business scenario you will go ahead with RFI first and then RFP? Or in which business scenario you will directly go to RFP? Yes, there are multiple scenarios like that. So if you don't know about these scenarios, what will happen? You will try to understand Ariba from the standard process perspective. And the client is paying you money for doing what? Excuse me. So they are basically giving you the money to change the standard process to that of their own process. So please keep this in your mind. Okay, very good. Now, once you have done the RFE, what next? You have found out the best source of supply. You cannot just rest. What you will do is like you will do the contracting. Now, what is contracting? What is the meaning of contracting? Contracting is a legal agreement between buyers and supplier. Suppose you buy something, any product, electronic product. Once you buy it, what you will do after that? All of you will say, Manoj, we will pay the money. Yes. After paying the money, what will happen? Then all of you will basically say to me, Manoj, we'll take the deliveries. Yes, but before that, what? You will take the bill, right? Correct? Yes or no? All of you will say yes. There's no other option. Exactly. So keep this thing in your mind over here. Now, very good. So Manoj, yes, we have understood this thing. Very simple and very good. Now, what kind of contract you will basically be working with? Of course, contracting will be done after sourcing. That means after finding the best source of supply, you're going to sign a contract. So in Ariba's contracting process, actually consists of two things. Two things: contract authoring and contract task completion. Yes, both these two things you need to understand. If you don't understand, what will happen? You won't be able to work. So majority of the functional consultant, when they will come to Ariba, what they will be expecting is, in the screen only, everything related to the contract will be captured. But that will not happen in real life. Exactly. So keep this thing in your mind. Very good. What next? The next thing is, we here have to work with Excel documents. That is called as contract authoring. Downloading the document, changing the document, adding data to the document, and then doing what? Then replacing the data within the contract. Where? Within the Ariba contracting. This is called as contract authoring. Then you will see that once you have done this thing, the next thing are the task. There will be different contract tasks over there, which you have to basically complete. Then only the contract will be published to the supplier. And of course, we are going to basically show you ECA contracts only. Now all of you will say, huh? Why, Manoj? Why ECA contract? Then why we will basically follow this ECA, Manoj? So the answer lies somewhere else. The answer lies in one thing, that is desktop file syncing is basically the DFS, and ECA is enhanced contract authoring, ECA. Now we will only learn ECA. Why? Why we will only learn ECA, Manoj? Because DFS has been made obsolete. You cannot basically use what? Use the DFS because it has been made obsolete. Plain and simple. Nothing else. Nothing else to think about it. Okay, Manoj. Exactly. So that's the difference. Now, what's the advantage? What's the disadvantage? That we will basically talk about it later. But in our session, we will basically only learn ECA. Why? Because right now, if you go to any client, you will see only ECA contracts are available in the system. Nothing else is basically available for them. So that is why we are going to learn the ECA contracting. Okay, very good. Okay. Hello, guys. Am I audible to all of you? I think there was some issue over there. You can confirm in the chat box. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, guys, for your confirmation. Yeah. Sometimes what happens is like, my earphone, the battery charge will go down. So I also don't know that whether all of you are able to hear me or not. Yeah. Yeah. I think all of you are able to hear me. Very good. Now, contracting we have completed. Very good. Then, before I move to anywhere else, supplier onboarding, or you can say SLP. Now, this is really a very big pain for a Ariba consultant. Now, those of the guys who don't know about it, they will basically say it does not matter. But for me personally, if you know the things over there, you will understand that it's a very big pain. Now, all of you will basically be saying me that Manoj, why it would be a big pain? What can be the reason behind it? Then I will basically say there are certain reason behind it. And what's one of that particular reason over here? The first reason which you have to basically understand over here is supplier here in Ariba, they are having Ariba network login. That means they will have a separate URL. अच्छा मनोज तो मतलब they will basically have a separate, yes, excuse me. So what does it actually mean? It means that we have to complete three processes for any supplier. You will, if you ask any uh, consultant, Ariba consultant, if you ask them what is this three process in SLP, they will say that this is important. I will say very good. Yes, it is important, no doubt. It is important. Why it is important? Have you ever thought about that? Why it is important? What can be the reason behind it? Because, as I said, It's not just dumping the supplier from SAP ERP to that of SAP Ariba. This supplier needs to register in Ariba network. Plus, there is another thing. This supplier must also go to Ariba downstream. So request means what? You have created the supplier profile, but you cannot use it. Registration means what? The supplier profile in that the supplier has been created. That means this supplier also now have their Ariba network login. So you can use the supplier in upstream, but not in downstream. So for that, we have to qualify the supplier. Once we qualify the supplier, then the supplier can be used in downstream. Now, all of you will basically say, Manoj, this is not a big deal. Hold on for a moment. So, in SAP ERP, if you create a supplier, can you use the supplier in a contract? All of you will say yes. Then I will ask the next question. Can you use the supplier in a PO? All of you will say to me yes. Now, same question in Ariba. You have a registered supplier. Can you use that supplier in contracting? The answer is yes. Then I will ask the next question. Can I use the registered supplier in a PO in Ariba? The answer is no. Only qualified user. That means qualified supplier. What does it mean? That is when you are basically replicating the supplier from ERP to Ariba. You have to understand one thing. What's that thing? So in that case, you have to understand one thing, that is what you can say, a supplier, same supplier, you're creating it in PO, in ERP. This PO is coming into Ariba, but in Ariba, it is seeing the supplier status is registered. That means what? That means you cannot use the supplier in Ariba PO for replication. Ariba will throw up an error. You will not understand कि अरे क्यों हो रहा है ऐसे? Why it is happening? Why the PO is getting created in ERP, but why it is not replicating into Ariba? What's the reason? The reason is supply status is registered, but you have to work with only those suppliers who are qualified. Then only you can work in downstream. That is where this is the difference which I was basically saying to all of you guys the beginning of the session. If you don't understand these basic things, what will happen? It will always backfire on you guys. Plain and simple. Don't need to think too much. It will always backfire. Okay? Now, This is what we will understand in upstream. Now, before I go to downstream, what we will do, we will take a break. We will take a break of 10 minutes, and after the 10 minutes, we will basically continue with our session. So let us take a break of 10 minutes, guys. After that, we will basically talk about downstream and integration. Those things are also important, but then again, new uh, point of view, all of you will basically get in that part. Yeah. So let us take a break for 10 minutes, guys. So after this 10-minute break, we will continue with our session. Yeah. Thank you, guys. So let's take a break for 10 minutes. Hello, guys. Am I audible to all of you? Can you please confirm? Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, guys, for your confirmation. So let us go into downstream. So what we do in downstream? In a very simple way, you can say in downstream, Manoj, we basically do the bind, or in a simple way, we can say PR, then PO, then basically GR, invoice, invoice reconciliation, payment. This is what we do. But this anybody can say from where he will create the PR. Now this point is a very important point. It might looks like a very simple thing, it does not have too much weight, but it does matter. Okay, let us try to understand what is it, or what we do, or how we do it. First thing first. How about this contract? Against this, can we do the PR? No, it is not available in downstream. Acha Manoj, so Ariba does not know about this issue. Yes, Ariba knows about this issue. So that is where contract compliance will come into the picture. Okay, what does it do? It basically move the contract from upstream to downstream. Okay, Manoj. So, matlab, you're telling me that this contract basically get copied from upstream to downstream with the help of contract compliance. Exactly correct. So what is contract compliance? Generally, whenever I will ask this question, majority of Ariba functional consultant will say, "Huh, contract compliance is part of upstream. It is part of downstream." Kaise? How? If that is true, then something in the definition of contract compliance is fundamentally wrong. Actually, it's a bridge through which the contract will move from upstream to downstream. It's a bridge. So you cannot say that contract compliance is part of upstream or part of downstream. It is part of both upstream as well as downstream. Okay? So please keep this thing in your mind. So what is contract compliance? Contract compliance is nothing but a bridge between upstream to downstream. Okay, chalo, it makes sense. Very good. What are the other things which we need to basically do? So the next thing basically is, yes, Manoj, from the contract we can create a PR. Ha, very good. What is this process called? Source to pay. Why? Because first sourcing happened, then contracting, then what? Then through that, this whole process ran. Sourcing, contracting, contract compliance, then everything. Now all of you will basically say, yes, Manoj, it makes perfect sense over there. So this is called as S2P. Now there is another process which is called as P2P. Now all of you will say, Are Manoj, which catalog? So you will see in downstream there is an option to basically create catalog subscription. Very good. Using save file. Majority of Ariba functional consultant, whenever I will ask that, boss, what's the difference between an S2P and a P2P process? Manoj, I don't know. They are the same. It's just like the same thing if you say taking a journey by train and taking a journey by flight, they are same. The answer is obviously correct. That is, if you're journeying by flight, that is totally different from that of the train. Source to pay process is basically a process which is originating from upstream and ending in downstream. Acha, Manoj. What about the P2P? P2P is a downstream only process where the catalogs are loaded into the system, and from these catalogs we will create the PRP and all those things. So that means what? This is a downstream only process, procure to pay process. Exactly. Now that's the first difference. So S2P is basically from upstream to downstream. P2P is only downstream. Now, okay, Manoj, it makes complete sense. Excuse me. What next? What next? The next is their integration scenario will also be different. We'll discuss about that shortly. But this is the major difference. Now, all of you will say, Manoj, you're talking about the process, you're not talking about configuration. Of course, I'm making sure that all of you guys understand we will cover the template, business rules configurations, task configuration, approval configuration, all those things we will see. Similarly, uh, conditions, configurations, all those things we will basically see. Everything will happen within template. Here also, working with zip file, catalog configs, approval workflow, okay? All those particular things we will basically see over here, okay? So please don't think that we are not going to go into the configuration. Yes, we are going to go, but we need to understand the process first. Configuration box, if I basically show it to everybody of you, all of you will basically say, we will basically understand that particular thing. Okay, exactly. Now, let us try to understand certain other points also over here. The next point basically, which is very, very important, is integration. Now, whenever I speak about integration, majority of the Ariba functional consultant will start asking me these questions over there. That key, no, CIG, na? How to basically work with CIG? Similarly, in S4 configuration also, generally how to basically do the configuration. Let me let me clarify one thing for all of you guys. And what is that? Now, first thing first is, how many of you guys knows about S-Trust configuration? How many of you know web service configuration, S-Trust manager configuration, all those things? All of you will say, Manoj, have you gone mad? Why you're asking these things? It does not matter. Exactly. Then I will say it should not matter anyway. Why? Because those are basis consultant configuration. So what we do in integration, Manoj, have you ever seen a architect, building architect, going and laying bricks, applying cement? All of you will say no, Manoj. They will basically plan it. Exactly. So that is our role in the integration. So our role is to basically plan or do what? Basically, integration scenario building. Exactly. So that is how we will basically do the integration scenario building. Next thing which we need to understand is mass data load. Mass data load means what? Working with the CSV file to upload the data in Ariba. Huh? We are having master data integration, right? We are having integration. So actually, the answer is, if your data is present in ERP, then only you're going to bring it to Ariba. If the data does not exist, if the data does not exist, what will happen? You cannot bring the data into Ariba. Example, purchasing unit. I'm not talking about purchasing organization or purchasing group. I'm talking about purchasing unit. Even SPSC commodity code. This data exists only in Ariba. So you have to work with those CSV files and you have to upload it in Ariba manually. Now the last thing is basically CIG config. Now in CIG config, you will see majority of the things are very simple. Step by step thing. Only thing which happens is when you are having some custom fields. You will have some custom fields in Ariba side. You will have some custom fields in ERP side. How will you add it? Any consultant thinks that we can add those custom fields. Wrong. Why? Because I'm talking about CIG. I'm not talking about CPI. It's not cloud platform integration. We are talking about CIG, cloud integration gateway. So in CIG, even if you have the custom fields in S4 as well as in Ariba, it will not work. It will not, you cannot make it appear in CIG. Acha, now what you have to do? This is where you take the help of SAP Ariba. You will have to give them the payload. Once you give them the payload means like all these transactional data in IDOC and in XML format. What they will do? They will do a XSLT mapping file and they will basically load it into CIG. Once they load it, all those custom fields will be available in your CIG. And then basically simply what you have to do, okay, the ZZ underscore CUST underscore PO underscore field 1 is equal to, in S4, is equal to CUST underscore field 1 underscore PO in Ariba. That's it. You just have to map it, drag and drop, align. That's a simple thing which we can show. But this thing, integration scenario building. Any example, Manoj, which you want to basically give? Yes, this example. Now, how will you do this configuration? Now you will say that, Manoj, lot of configuration in S4 side as well as in uh, CIG side will be done by the basis consultant. Okay, go to the basis consultant and ask them what's the difference between a H2P process and a P2P process. They will say what you are talking about. That's the issue. That is what majority of the Ariba consultants don't understand. That, boss, you have to tell them what's the difference between H2P process and what's the difference between P2P process. So the thing is, in H2P, we are using contract compliance to create the PR. Since contract compliance will have a own contract ID, that contract ID will be present in your PR. So what I will do is, like, I will tell to the basis consultant, ki, "Arey boss, within the PR, whenever you are having a contract ID filled up, that means it is not empty. That means that's a H2P process. If that contract ID field is empty, that means it's a P2P process." Okay? Exactly. So keep this thing in your mind. Very, very important. It makes complete sense. Okay? Very good. Now, this is what we wanted to basically show in our demo session with all of you guys over here. Now, few things which we need to understand. We are going to take a break right now. After the break, two things we are basically going to do. First and foremost thing is, Nikita is going to basically show you the documentations which we will basically share during the uh, whole sessions. And the second thing is, basically we are going to have a focus on one thing. And what is that? Question answer sessions. Of course, we will be having some questions. We will basically be taking the questions. So that we will basically take. So let's take a break over here. And after the break, we will basically show you all the documentation which we will share with all of you guys. And then we will have a question answer session. Exactly. Yeah. So let us take a break over here, guys. Yeah. Thank you. Hello, guys. Am I audible to all of you? Can you please confirm?
Yes, Manoj, it's audible.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Nikita, for the confirmation. So, Nikita, can you just share your screen to so that we can show to the you know uh, participant that what kind of documentation we are going to basically share with them.
Yes, Manoj, is it visible to all of you?
Yeah, yeah, Nikita. Yeah. So we are able to basically see the documentation over here. So as you can see, guys, first and foremost thing, excuse me, whatever you can basically see over here is that this is the G drive which we are going to basically share with all of you guys. Okay, once you register for this training. Now, of course, the training sessions is going to be very, very important because as I have discussed before, these sessions are not just your normal sessions, but our experiences which we shared with all of you guys. But apart from that, the thing is like if you look at this G Drive access which will be shared with you guys, the first folder is the session recordings. So that means every session, once it has been completed, what will happen? The recording will be uploaded. Why? Because you have to go through the recording at least once or twice to completely understand it. Okay? Yeah. Next thing is basically the Ariba access. So all of you will be provided with the Ariba access for 2 years, and that access we are going to basically so not for 2 years, sorry, 2 months. So for 2 months you will be provided the access. This will be a buyer access as well as a network access, so that you can test out the scenario as well as the configuration items as well. Okay, both from the buyer side as well as supplier side. The third is the notepads. So as you have seen in today's session, we have used the notepads to basically demonstrate our things. So for every session, there will be notepad. So this notepad will also be shared with all of you guys in this document folder. And the fourth part basically is nothing but your documents. Now these are basically the standard documents which we will basically share with all of you guys in case if it is required for all of you guys in your project. Okay, and the fifth point is nothing but the certification material. Now some of you guys might be interested in the certification documentation, so how to basically you know, prepare for the certification. Of course this training will help you, but ultimately after this training also you have to do read some documentation, and it also consists of some dumps. So those things also we will basically provide in the certification material thing. And the sixth point is the learning of videos. So those of you guys who want to basically brush up your theoretical knowledge, you can have a look at the learning of videos which are basically great at uh, bringing the learning hub videos over there. Yeah, so it will basically improve your theoretical knowledge if you want. And the last part is sample CV. So basically if you are thinking that Manoj, how we will basically make sure of the CVs, the CV is correct or wrong and all those things, how to make it proper. So for that we have basically kept some 14 to 15 CVs which are up to the mark, which will help you in knowing that which CV, how it should be basically be, what you can say, be prepared by all of you guys. So all those particular things we are basically going to share with all of you guys. So these are the documentation, guys, which we will basically share with all of you. And I think, Nikita, we are good basically from the documentation side. So let me just share my screen. Yeah. Now, guys, if you're having any query, please do raise your hand. We will be taking your queries right now. Yeah, Harshvardhan, can you please go ahead with your query?
Yeah, sure,
First
Manoj.
of all, unmute yourself. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Harshvardhan.
sure, Manoj. Thank you, Manoj, for the wonderful session. So I have two questions mainly. So are we also discussing something auctions in the sourcing part? Because I did not see anywhere the auctions topic coming up. That is,
Yeah,
yeah, my first
yeah.
question.
So we generally don't do auction. Why? Because two two reasons. The first and foremost thing is whenever we will go to Ariba, right? So we have to understand what is the strength of Ariba. What are the things which we implement in Ariba? So that is what I said. There is two things. So the first and foremost thing is basically uh, theoretical knowledge. So if you are basically having a look at the theoretical things, then yes, auction is very important from a theoretical perspective. From a practical perspective, the thing is like, do majority of customer use auction in Ariba? The answer is no. Why? They will basically use auctions in Now, why? They use it from Ariba perspective. So first and foremost thing is Ariba is an on-cloud solution, right? So in that sense, if you want to change certain basic business rules, you can do it with the help of template changes. But majority of the time, whenever a customer decide to go for auction, what is the starting point? Starting point is that hey, I have taken RFP from majority of the suppliers, but majority of the suppliers has given higher quotation which are beyond my expectations. All of the suppliers. Now what I want to do, I want to basically bid, ask the supplier to basically give an open bid and compete against each other. Whichever supplier will give the lowest quotation, I will basically excuse me, award that supplier. So that is the basic or the basis of auction. And here, what happens is like there is a lot of customizations required from the client side. That customization, we cannot do it in Ariba. Why? Because Ariba is an on-cloud solution. In on-premise solution, what they will do, they will change anything. They can write any code, no issues. Not in Ariba because Ariba is a cloud product. So that is why RFI and RFP are used in sourcing from a implementation perspective, but auction are never used in Ariba because of this disadvantage. So that is why I said that please remember,
Okay.
Ariba is not a replacement of your You will see there is one thing in our integration scenario. I said like we will be doing the integration scenario building. Some of you might have asked me this question that Manoj, you are talking about a indirect procurement. What about a direct procurement? Again, direct procurement will come in the integration scenario. Exactly. So it will come in the integration scenario. Similarly, here, remember this integration scenario for direct procurement, what will happen? The starting point will be S4 or ECC over there. So in certain cases, 15 to 20% of the procurement process, it will still carry on with ECC and the integration will happen with Ariba network. 80% of the other process or 75% of the process will migrate to Ariba buyer. From there, it will go to ECC and Ariba network. That's the implementation scenario which we implement. So please remember, it's not like will be replaced by Ariba. Both will be there, but 80% or 75% bulk of the process will move to Ariba. But some part of the process will still be done in So this is one of the
Okay.
example.
Okay. Yeah. So my second question is, so how about guided buying? Because my customers are using the guided buying part. So yeah, we would be
Okay.
requesting you to
So
cover
guided
that part.
buying, actually what is happening is like the access of Ariba, which we are getting, it's not from any client. It's actually from SAP Ariba, which we are using for training purposes. So right now, Ariba, not now, actually from the last 1 year, Ariba has basically stopped giving us the guided buying access, saying only if you are a client who is implementing Ariba for the procurement solution, they will only get the guided buying option. Training system will not have guided buying options. So generally what we do is like one and a half year ago, we used to have the guided buying system with us. So we have the recording of those sessions where we
Sure,
discussed
sure.
about the landing pages, styles,
Yeah, we would.
policies,
Yeah, that.
all those
Yeah. Mhm.
configurations, right?
Yes,
Those
yes, yes, man.
particular session recordings we have basically with us, and that we will share it. Why? Because right
Yeah,
now the guided buying access is not with us, but that particular session can be useful for all of you guys if you want to know about the guided buying.
yeah, 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 definitely. Sure, Manoj. Yeah, recordings will also help. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you, Manoj. Thank you. That's all I had. Yeah.
yeah. Welcome, Harsh brother. Just a moment. Excuse me. Before we go to anywhere, let us take a question from the chat box. What's the major difference between CPI and CIG? So, actually, you will see one thing. What is that thing? That is CPI is Cloud Platform Integration. CIG is Cloud Integration Gateway. Actually, CIG is basically nothing but a portion of CPI. Portion of CPI. But remember, CIG is only used for connecting Ariba with either S4 or ECC. You cannot use it for any other technology. On the other hand, CPI is a cloud middleware which you can use for any software. That means you want to connect Ariba with S4, very good. You want to connect Ariba with Fieldglass, very good. You want to connect Ariba with non-SAP, very good. CPI can help you. So that's the difference between CPI and CIG. CIG is basically integration specifically for Ariba to ECC or S4, nothing else. CPI is basically limitless. That means you can use any SAP product or non-SAP product to integrate with each other using CPI. Exactly. But for that, CPI is a separate software which is needed to be buyed out. Subscription fee will be there. You need a CPI developer for that as well. Exactly. Excuse me. Yeah. Adrita, can you please go ahead with your query?
Hi Manoj. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to know, like, are we going to discuss the spot buying in Ariba sessions?
Yeah. Yeah. Within the catalog session, we are going to basically understand about the spot buy as well.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Welcome, Adrita. Okay, just a moment. Yeah, Narasimha, can you please go ahead and ask your query? I have sent you the unmute request. Yeah, Narasimha, I think you need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, Manoj, this is good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Narasimha.
Yeah, I've been SAP in different modules since 15 years. So SRM,
Yeah,
SLM, and different modules. Really, you are doing great job actually. You are conceptually you are very sound, And your explanation is very nice, actually.
Yeah.
I'm appreciating
Thank
you.
you.
The same thing is that Manoj, actually,
Yeah.
nowadays the people are asking, as well as we are already no discussing conceptually
Hmm.
very good, actually. That there's no compromise on that. But thing is,
Yeah.
Manoj, just so either it's a request only. So people are
Haha.
somewhat they are asking in that. Say, one moment. I have background noise.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, Manoj, actually, they are asking some kind of earlier. There, I saw the interviews. Actually, tell me about that orally Ariba, like that P2P cycle, whatever there. Nowadays, one
Hmm.
step go ahead now. There, how the
Hmm.
system is working for creating the POs. Suppose scheduled tasks. So that
Hmm.
kind of touch up we required, Manoj, in this course. Not fully. So how that?
Yeah.
Suppose they're asking me directly. No, okay, everything is fine, Narsima. So how
Hmm.
the system knows that PR is created? Then how the PO is
Ah.
created and sent it to backend system? How the GR input
Okay.
types? So this kind of
Okay.
some
Okay.
technical.
So, so
So
on this part,
not earlier so much. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Go ahead,
So
Manoj.
Narasimha, let me just clarify. So first and foremost thing, what happens is, uh, see, there is two things. Uh, Generally, what you can do is like you can basically say in a very simple way. So in our session, what we always say, the point of integration between Ariba and S4 or Ariba and ECC is basically web services, right? So the thing is like you can say in a very simple way that whenever a PR is approved, what will happen? The PO will basically get created, correct?
Yes, yes,
Automatically.
yes,
You don't have to
yes.
schedule any task, nothing. PO will get
Mm-hmm.
automatically created. Now, once
Mm-hmm.
this PO is created, it will go into ordering state, right?
Correct.
And after some time, it will be ordered. And you can see in the history tab, it is saying that two things. The first and foremost thing is PO is sent to the supplier in Ariba network. The
Yes, yes.
second point is basically it is replicated back to S4 plus ECC system. Now, what happens is like whenever this PO gets created, a web service call, PO send to backend will basically get triggered. And what will it do? It will extract the PO in a CXML format, take that particular CXML document and send it to S4 slash ECC. What ECC or S4 will do basically, they will not do anything. Why? Because ultimately this request is coming to CIG first. In CIG, what will happen? CXML to IDOC conversion will happen. Then from CIG to S4 or ECC, what will happen is like this IDOC through the RFC connection will come and it will be processed and a PO will be created at a very simple level.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody is going beyond that, they're asking, okay, what happens in the web services and all those things? Clearly mention out one thing that see, there are two guys in Ariba. The first one is functional consultant. Okay, I'm the functional consultant. Second guy is basically the integration consultant. Okay, yes, I can also basically do the CIG mapping and all this particular configuration with some help from basis guy. So I can also be the integration consultant. What I cannot be is the Ariba technical consultant. Why? Because Ariba technical consultant before 2010, Ariba was on premise, right? So at
Yes.
that point of time, so there are a lot of Ariba consultant who used to have Java knowledge, XML knowledge, basically technical guys. So they used to code like that. Now those guys, once they move from technical to that of a functional role, right? They will start, they will have a expectation in their mind that you should, we should also understand about XML as well as Java, which is not required. Why? Because this Ariba is a cloud solution, right? You forget about changing the code. You cannot see the code only. We cannot see the code. So in that case, if they basically go into those technical things much deeper, then you can say I'm not a technical consultant. I'm a functional consultant. This is what it happens, and this is what I have said over there. Now, what happens exactly at a technical level? You can take a guess, I can take a guess, but nobody can say the correct answer. Why? Because we cannot see at the coding level what happens. Ariba is on cloud solution, and the application server is maintained by Ariba. So in this case, immediately what will happen? Your interviewer, actually what happens is like they are basically trying to uh, they will have their own mindset, right? So the same mindset they are basically applying for you. So you politely but firmly that, boss, as a technical consultant, sorry, as a functional consultant and as a integration consultant, I know about this process and how to do this thing. But please don't expect from me Java developer things, XML developer things.
Okay. Yeah, if you have any kind of same like same earlier you told, right, Manoj, some guided
Yeah.
buying, same kind of videos.
Uh-huh.
If you have any stuff in under your circle or something, can you just provide us if it is possible? So, like just
Yeah, yeah,
as
yeah,
a
yeah,
senior.
definitely, definitely. So those things basically we will basically provide, and we will also basically, what you can say, make all of you guys ready so that you can understand these things. See, in our sessions, what we basically trying to do is like we are trying to make you understand that what happens in a project, what are the things which we should focus on the projects. So it's no theoretical thing.
Yeah, yeah, we need to know that as a senior consultants, no senior guys. Actually, we need to suppose if training comes in real time, some issues
Ha
actually.
ha ha, definitely,
What happens
definitely.
is just to give us some background of that one, technically some. So,
Definitely. That is what we give in our session. So basically, we will not only talk about the issues, we will talk about how to form the solution, what are the different solution core, and then
yeah,
basically
suppose
how to
some web
implement
services
it in
actually,
the
suppose
system.
ending points, how to see. So we need to provide the certifications, some to the basic, sorry, PA consultants or CAG consultants, right? CAG people,
So
certification.
yeah, those things we generally, all of our sessions we do cover, right? That you're
Yeah,
talking about two type of authentication. The first one authentication is shared secret. The second authentication is basically the certificate based
certifications.
authentication. Yeah.
So,
So
yeah,
all
how
those things
you.
we basically do in our session. So all of those points we discuss.
Yeah, yeah. Now, at the same time, suppose we have some customizations field, and suppose yeah, Ariba will take care of that. At least we have to provide some logic or something about that. So that kind of information required, Manoj, actually.
I think
Some.
I think I think on this part, Nasima, like
Mm.
you have to basically attend our session. Then you will basically know that how it happens over there in integration scenario. We will also talk about the bodies. What is the meaning of body? Business application add-ins, right?
Yeah, no,
What or
yeah,
business add-ins? What is the meaning of bodies? Why we will use the body? What kind of custom rules will be there in the bodies? What kind of custom logic will be there in the bodies? So all those things we covered in our integration session.
we have actually good knowledge of that. Suppose this is side actually, we are coming from SAP, right? That is no problem for us. From this side, actually,
Yeah.
Ariba side, actually, especially. So how they schedule the task, suppose whatever I don't know exactly what they are side inside actually in
No,
Ariba
no, no.
side actually.
There is nothing called as scheduling of task over there. There is
Hmm.
one or two tasks which is needed to be scheduled, and that too only for the catalog section. This is
Okay,
the first time I am hearing that for sending PO, you have to schedule a task in
yeah, yeah.
Ariba. No, you don't have to do it. Why? Because web service will automatically get triggered once you create a PO. Automatically, it will get
Okay.
triggered.
Yeah, that kind of stuff actually. Suppose what is the background? Suppose we are expecting ECC, some result reports and everything is there. The same kind of things actually in Ariba actually. What they're going, so how is that? So what is the database? How the tables? No, no, that kind of just a small kind of stuff from your side. You require.
Database tables, I cannot help you with that.
No, no,
Nobody
no, no,
can.
not
Why?
that. Suppose if
Yeah,
it's not, yeah, that
but
is
but
Java
yes,
web server.
definitely. I understood what your point is over there. So that is what we do in our session. Our sessions are
Mm.
basically focused on practical things, how you do it in the project, where you do it, and
Yeah.
what are the issues you will face, and all those things only. Yeah,
At the
of
same
course,
time, one
those
more
things which are
question
required in the
actually,
project.
Manoj. One more question.
Yeah, yeah.
People are just I'm facing the issues actually here. So they're asking if there is valid questions or not. I don't really. So why? Because suppose if you are starting with Ariba, they didn't any configure the system actually. So what going to step for a Ariba consultant? And in that way, they are asking the questions actually. Even I need to know that other things. Give the
No,
ideal
no, no. See,
system.
see, see. The thing is like I will tell you one thing, Nasima. No, you have to be very, very clear. See, if you're not clear about how the things is going to happen, where it is going to happen, it will always be backfiring on you. You just, if somebody comes to you in the interview and they say, I have given you an empty Ariba system, what you will do? So immediately you will say, forget about that thing. Forget about empty system. First of all, you are saying what configuration I will do. First of all, when you go to a project, you will start with configuration. And if you say yes, then I will say that you have not worked in a project. Why?
Yes.
Because first and foremost thing, when we will go to a project, we will sit down with the client. We will have the SOW, scope of work, with ourselves. Those particular scope of work we will basically discuss as a part of requirement gathering. Once we discuss this thing, then what we will do, we will basically classify the scope of work as fit or gap. Those things which are gap, there we will try to find out the solutions. Once we find out the solution, then BBP, business blueprint document, we will prepare. From there we will prepare the FS documents. Once we do that, then we will go to the system. So all these things, it will not be done out of thing. So once we do this thing, by that time we will know, acha. So for sourcing, for this we will need 20 templates depending on the gaps. And what are the different 20 templates? What are the different business process which we will do in these 20 templates? We are knowing it. Why? Because we have done the fit gap analysis. We have done the business blueprint. Exactly. So if somebody comes up to you and asks this question, what he will do in an empty system, then I will say, then you can say, I will not do anything. I will talk with the client. We will basically talk about the requirement. Once we get the requirement over there, we will do the fit gap analysis. From that, we will basically form out the solutions, prepare the BP and FS. Once those FSs are ready, then we can basically begin our configuration. Okay, how many
Yes. Yes.
custom templates are required and all those things. Because if you don't say this thing, what will happen is immediately you will say, I will begin template configuration. Then immediately they will start asking you this question, how many templates? When you have decided how many templates you need, why you need 10 templates? So you
Correct.
have to basically give answer in this way over there. So basically, what the interviewer tries to do when they ask a question like this is basically they are trying to check your mindset. Why? Because if you have really worked in the project, you will say, boss, you are asking me irrelevant question. It will never
Mhm.
happen in real life.
Yeah, friends, correct, Manoj. Actually, this is the process. Actually, this one, the steps actually. So, activity methodology, we are following the same way. We are following that one actually.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
once you say these things, then immediately that guy will know, oh, this guy has worked in the project. But if you have not worked
Yes.
in a project, what will happen is like you will try to justify their question.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Now,
they will
apart
basically
from that,
put you on
yeah,
back
yeah,
foot.
Manoj, you are correct, Manoj. Actually, that one correct. Okay. So there are some control parameters also. Some no, we need to know the technical something. This control parameters kind of this stuff. We are expecting something.
Yeah. Now, I will tell you one thing. We cannot change the parameter.
No, no, we
If it
can't
was
change that.
in
Yes.
2000, in 2018, 2019, if we could
Hmm.
have changed those, we could have changed this parameter in the customization manager. Now, it is with SAP itself. Say, for example, I will give you an example. You want to do a budget check when the PR has been
Yes, yes.
created in S4.
But
Now, generally, what happens if you go for the interview, they will ask what is the parameter name. Okay,
correct.
and
Yeah.
you can say whatever you want. RTBC parameter check. And that guy who is sitting in the interviewer position, they will say, yes, you're correct. Why, because the interviewer who is asking this question, that guy also cannot remember that name. Parameters are basically Java variables. If you see that variable name, it's a very
Yeah,
big
I
variable name.
told him, yeah, same discussion. This is hundreds of parameters. How can I say that? I told him, okay,
Yeah, no. Actually, whenever we basically need to enable or disable a parameter, what we will do, we will go to the connect.ariba.com, we will create a service request or case. Once we create
correct.
that, we will say this functionality we want. So they will only report back, okay, this is the parameter. Should I enable this parameter? We will reply yes. Once they enable that parameter, then real-time budget check will basically start happening at a peer level. So that is the thing. So parameter, we are not Java developer that we should always know the parameter name and remember this. That is rote memorization.
Okay. Okay, that's fine, Manoj. Really good, good. So anyway, suppose if you have time, just at on the topic of that one, just you have go into some extent like that. That is enough for us.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Thank you, Manoj. Thanks for your explanation.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, welcome, Naresh. Just a moment. Ha, ha. Now, just a moment over here. Commerce automation, yes, we basically will cover commerce automation in our integration scenario. Excuse me. Step process integration since how can we test the integration part? So this is a very good question. So please remember from Ariba side, we will basically see the integration, not an issue at all. Okay, but from ECC side, we will basically share with you guys a document also, which will take the screenshot from a real project, every screenshot. That means like what are the different configuration in SPRO for this integration. That also we will see from that particular document. That means, let's say for example, in SPRO you will do a integration configuration for CIG. What are the different configuration? All the screenshot is taken over there in that document. That document will be shared with all of you guys. There's another thing also, less popular role, that is basically for ECC. That is also basically for that also CI9. We have also taken the screenshot and that also we will share it with all of you guys. That means CI9 as well as CIG configuration from the S4 side, all the screenshots we have taken, and we have basically prepared a custom document of ours for CI9 as well as CIG. Those two documents also we will share it with all of you guys when we complete our session. That you can refer to that document in your project when you're basically going to work. Excuse me. Yeah, exactly so. Now, what is the exact role of a functional consultant? Uh, First and foremost thing, you have to remember that uh, consulting, that means like requirement gathering, then basically understanding the scope of work, doing fit gap analysis. After that, providing solution for the gaps, preparing the business blueprint document, preparing the functional specs document. Once that is done, then what you will do? You will go to the build phase. Exactly. Now, once you go into the build phase, what happens is like we will start doing the configuration in Ariba, right? Template and other configurations. Once we basically do that particular configuration, what will happen? Once we do that configuration in a very simple way, the second step is we will basically do the integration. Once that is done, then basically we will do the SIT, integration testing. Then what is left? UAT. But before that, we will also give the training to the buyers, and then we will go ahead with the UAT and stuff. And during the data cutover activity period, of course, we have to do the mass data load and all those particular activity which we have to keep in our mind over there. Exactly. So these are the function of a Ariba consultant. Once again, please remember, we are not ERP consultant. Some of the configurations which are required for our integration, we are going to have a look at it. But please again remember, we are not ERP. consultant, that we should basically also understand everything about that is beyond the scope of this particular uh, training. Our main training is basically about nothing but the Ariba things. Yes, in integration we will understand the scope of some of the configuration ASPRO, but that is not like that of ASPRO consultant. Exactly. Now just a moment. uh, Divya, I think uh, do one thing. Ask your BRE, like Nikita or Sana, about this thing, that whether you want to do this particular training or not, because yes, there is a certain thing. Yeah, some of the things you can't understand. Okay, I can totally agree, but just have a talk with them. Yeah, Pooja, can you please go ahead with your query?
Hey, hi Manoj.
Hey, hello, Pooja.
Yeah, Manoj, I have questions related to SLP sourcing. So,
Yeah, yeah.
like how much time will it take, like a client like Unilever, to implement a SLP and the whole source to contract process? That's one question. And what is the latest version we are using, the Ariba version? And if it is a sourcing, then the what we call the RFQ from the ECC, we send it to the Ariba. So how that flows?
Okay, so the release which we are basically using, main release is Ariba 14 version, which we are using 14s, but the release number is actually 2208. It actually came in the
Okay.
month of August. That was one of the last major releases from Ariba side, which happened in the month of August with some extra functionalities. And SLP, sourcing and contracting, these three things you are basically talking about implementation time frame,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a hard go live or a soft go live kind of thing.
No, I'm not sure.
Okay, hard go live means basically for all the Unilever uh, regions, wherever they are operating, they will have a go live at the same time. That is called as a hard go live. We generally we do for
Okay.
SAP ECC or SAP S4, right? So if
Yeah, yeah.
so, excuse me, maybe
Yeah, your
one and
voice,
a half year.
yeah, your voice is breaking.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, yeah. Now it's clear.
Yeah. So as we have basically told all of you guys before, that if it's a hard go live, and 50 to 60 regions you have to implement over there, that might take 1 year to 1.5 year,
Okay.
because that many number of templates, that many number of business rules, that many number of configuration, all those things has to be done. Generally, if it's very simple, let's say for one or two region, you want to go live, soft go live, so that will be like 6 to 7 months, or
Okay.
maximum 8 months, not more than that. But if it is a hard go live for maximum of the region, that can extend till 1.5 year for H2C.
Okay. S2C. So every now the organizations already they have ECC already in place. What's why they are trying to move to Ariba? That's one of the question also. Because already they have CLM in place, contract lifecycle management. Now, why they are moving from ECC to Ariba?
Huh.
Like,
Okay.
yeah, that will be first
So
question.
that
Like when if you are in implementation team, the client will obviously ask. So
okay. Okay, so in that case, you just have to basically don't go into Ariba features and basically try to justify this question. Because if you do that, what happens is like, you know, they will make your life much more complex. So you just say, suppose you have just started your job, which one you will use for your own personal right, train or flight? Majority of us will basically say train,
train,
not
yeah,
flight. Yeah, but once you basically earn good money, which one you will use, train or flight, for your personal
flight.
reasons? Why? Because your time
Yes,
is expensive. Your time is very, very important to you. Earlier, when you used to earn less, at that time, the time was not important. Money was. Why? Because you were earning less money, you had more time on your hand. But once you basically start earning more money, so your time becomes much more valuable to you, right? So at that point
yes,
of time, you will basically give importance to your time. So you will say, why I will basically use train for 20 hours journey or maybe 30 hours. I can use the flight for 2.5 hours. Immediately I can reach my destination. So it will save my valuable time. Same thing over here. So the thing is like MM is good, but how you're collaborating with the suppliers through MM, it's very bad. Why? Because it's manual almost, right? So you're
yes,
sending the supplier through email, then supplier sending the invoice through email, and you misplace the invoice. What will happen? At the time of invoice approval or reconciliation, there it will get caught, right? So it's a very
yes,
big issue over there, and it's a manual issue. On the other hand, if you come to Ariba, in Ariba, supplier will create the invoice by flipping the PO. They cannot say, I have taken the first PO and flipped it to create a second invoice. No, it cannot be like that. You have to basically flip the first PO and then first invoice will get created. And that invoice will always reference the first or the second PO. So this kind of issues will never happen. It's automated and this kind of manual issue will never happen. So this streamlines your process, this automate your process, this makes your process automated, and what will happen, all the pitfalls, all the negative things which is happening from the manual side will never happen.
okay,
Exactly, so that's the thing. But remember, not 100% of your process will be moved from MM to Ariba. This is also a wrong concept. Huh, 15 to 20% of the process will be there in MM, but 75 to 80% of the process will move to Ariba. But this 15 to 20% process will be there in MM.
okay. Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Any
thanks,
other
Manoj.
queries, Pooja? You can go ahead.
And no, no.
Okay. Thank you, Pooja. Uh, yeah. Ramesh, can you please go ahead with your query? Ramesh, I think you need to unmute yourself and ask your query. Ramesh, I think you are on mute. Just a moment. Ramesh, I think you are unmuted. Yeah, can you just check once? Yeah, I've sent you the unmute request. I think there is some issue with your side, with the mic. Yeah, because I am able to send your request over there for the unmute part. Yeah, so not an issue. Yeah, you can type your queries in the chat box as well. Okay, yeah. So I think it's all good over there. So I think we can basically conclude our session for today, guys, for our demo session. Those of you guys who are interested in enrolling with our sessions, please just get in touch with our BREs, Business Relationship Executive, Nikita Sana, Pallavi. They are going to basically help you in registering. And our next session will be on coming Saturday at the same time. Yeah, 7:30 a.m. IST. Yeah. Thank you guys. Once again, thanks Nikita for conducting this demo, and thanks to all of you guys for confirming for coming to our session. And we will have our next session on coming Saturday at the same time. Yeah. Thank you all. Let's conclude our session for today.